Hello, this is Giles Halling at Mad About Bubbly with a short video to show you where in the world is Champagne. So let's take a look. Well, the first thing to notice, of course, is that Champagne is in the center of the world, as you'd expect. That's it, that's the red dot just below the line indicating the 49th parallel north. Now, that's significant in as much as the 49th parallels, both north and south, generally mark the boundaries of where you can grow grapes and get them to ripen properly. So all the main vineyards of the world are within those two boundaries. Of course, there are one or two vineyards outside that to the north, notably in England, where I come from, but they're not world-class vineyards, at least not yet anyway. So the next thing to notice is that to the east of Champagne, all over here, got this huge landmass, which is Eastern Europe, Russia, and way out all across Asia. So what that means for Champagne is that some really cold air fronts come rushing in, particularly in winter, all the way across from Siberia, and the temperature in Champagne can get pretty chilly in winter. Now, to compensate for that, on the other hand, you have on the west of Champagne and the west of France, you've got the Atlantic Ocean, which brings in warmer, wetter weather to balance out the cold air coming from the east. So depending on which of those two types of weather is dominant in each particular year, you get a different influence on the Champagne, particularly on vintage Champagne. But vintage Champagne is a subject unto itself, and we're going to have to leave that for another time. So let's move on and take a look at the climate within Champagne itself. So as you can see, they get a lot of frost, up 60 to 80 days of frost a year, and amazingly 200 days of rain. That's more than half the year raining. Wow. I can tell you that having lived there a long time, you don't actually notice it. I was surprised when I saw that, but I guess that it must rain a little bit every day, perhaps during the night. But there we are. Lots of rain too. And on the bottom right hand side you can see that in Champagne the average temperature all year round, that is 10.5 degrees centigrade. That's about 51 Fahrenheit, which is just enough to ripen the grapes, because from the little image on the left you'll see that grapes need an average annual temperature of 9.5 centigrade. So we're just in Champagne, we're just able to get the grapes to ripen properly. Of course, that doesn't stop it getting very, very cold in winter, as you can see. Now, you often get beautiful blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, beautiful sunny days, but my goodness, is it cold. Very dry, fresh, cold weather, and at night the temperature comes crashing down. It snows quite often, and it really looks very beautiful. But all this severe weather is actually a good thing for the people who are growing the vines, because if you let a vine leave it in comfortable conditions, all it does is produce lots of shoots and lots of leaves. But of course, if you're growing or making Champagne, that's not what you want. You want fruit, and when you put a vine under extreme conditions, so it's surviving for or fighting for its survival, it focuses on producing fruit and more fruit. So that's exactly what you want. So that's good news. This is a zoom in of the Champagne region, and as you see over on the left here, Champagne vineyards are about 120 miles northeast of Paris. That's 75 miles or so. For those of you who are flying in, it's about an hour and a half's drive from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, and it's about 2 hours drive, 2.5 hours drive from the north coast. Now, if you zoom in over to the right onto the map of Champagne itself, you'll see that there's the main area at the top, up here, and there's another area down here which is separated by about 50 miles or so. The area in the south is called the Aube, A-U-B-E, named after the river that flows through that area, whereas up to the north we have the river Marne flowing through the main area. And here you've got three distinct regions really. Firstly, the Vallée de la Marne here, where is one particular type of grape grows. Down here below the town of Epernay, we have the area called La Côte des Blancs, which is the hillside of the white grapes, literally. And the green horseshoe shape towards the top of that map marks the area called La Montagne de Reims, the mountain of Reims, and a third type of grape grows there. In total, you've got about 35,000 hectares, and that's approximately 80,000 acres. Now the vineyards are scattered all over the place, they're not side by side, and in total the area enclosed by the Champagne region is about 120 kilometers east to west and 120 kilometers north to south. However, if you were to condense all those vineyards so that they were all right next to one another, you'd have a very compact area, a smallish area of about 18 square kilometers. That's about 7 square miles. So it's not very big in those terms. It's 0.5% of the total world vineyards, but my goodness, for a small vineyard area it has a giant reputation. So that's really the introduction to where Champagne is. I hope you found that of use and of interest. Thank you very much for joining me on Mad About Bubbly. And of course, if you want to find out more, go to www.madaboutbubbly.com, and there's lots more to find out. And of course, there's a great ebook to buy. And thank you for joining me. There'll be more videos coming up shortly. But for now, that's all. Thank you very much indeed. Bye now.